Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne, and we've now got issue 70 of Eagle Moss's Build the Delorean. Okay, this is a bit of a puzzler issue for me, and I've already got so many things wrong. Well, first of all, in the next issue, I'm sure we've got the next door coming, but they're again saying that we've got door locks and cables, but there is no more door locks and cables. We've done all of that, so I think there's a printing error in the back of the magazine there. We're going to be mounting the door to the car, so let me just show you. I'll show you here because I've already laid out everything, as you can see here, and I'm going to talk about some of the bits we've got there. But as you see, we're just going to be putting the door on the car. Now, problems. This is what I've noticed at the moment. You remember in the last issue that I told you that when the door's attached to the car just like this, it's going to be able to go up, but there's nothing actually keeping it up? It's going to be a problem because they provide, if I show you on this side camera here, the little hydraulic strut here. Now this strut can go out and in, and it has got some resistance but not too much resistance, so the weight of the door is just going to make this collapse again when we put it in. I am aware of that, and a lot of people are aware of that. The trouble is, I don't think there's a fix for it, because if you had enough leverage to keep the door open, chances are when the door is closed it's just going to keep popping open. The only solution I could see for that was one of these ring binder springs, like the metal lever springs you get in a ring binder, but again it's far too powerful and the door will just stay up all the time. So I'm guessing at the moment we're going to be left with this thing just being on show, I guess. And if you want it open, you're going to have to think of another way to keep it open, whether it be to crimp this part, I suppose, and keep it in. I don't know. But let's get cracking on this build and see how it looks anyway. The first thing we're going to do, as you see, we've got the strut. Oh yeah, this is the other thing. Look, I've got a really mystery piece. I don't even know what this is for. But it's not part of this magazine, but they've sent me a mystery piece. So, yeah, no idea what that's about. That's crazy. Okay, so first thing we've got to do, we've got a little tiny bit here that we're going to need later. So I'm just going to put that just over here. And I've put this on a blue fluffy towel because I'm going to be flipping this over and I don't want to be scratching the metalwork. And obviously the door as well is going to be on its side, so I don't want to be scratching that either. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on this side here. Get this on the side camera just like that, and we're going to be putting this piece in here. Now the way this goes is you've got the hinges on this side. The hinges are going to be facing this side here, but the wire in it is going to be coming out of the back of the hinge. So when we put this in, we need to make sure this wire, if I pull it first and then put it in, is going to be flush just like that. So it's coming out of that little hole that you can just see inside there. Whoops, my fingers are in the way. Just like that. Okay, once that's in, we're going to be, this is step one, by the way. Step two, we're going to be securing all these with NM screws. And someone on my channel showed me the easiest way to open a screw. Watch this, I didn't realise that. It's just to pinch them. Look, pinch the bag between your thumb and forefinger and they open. I've been having so many problems with that, and, well, didn't realise it was that easy. Anyway, so we're going to be putting 4 NM screws in here. Okay, that's the first one in. Put the second one in. What I'm doing with these ones is I'm pushing down really tight on them because they are quite tight to put in, and I really don't want to round the screw heads. So the easiest way to stop that happening is to give it a lot of pressure so you're not having any friction on the actual top of the screw head. This is the third one. The back ones are going a lot better, I have to say, than the front ones did. They were quite tight there. So, and this is the fourth one. So, we've just put this top plate on here, and we've fed the wire through on the little hole on the side there. So that was steps 1 and 2, and I'm getting all sorts of weird dust coming off of this now. But there we go, that's those two done now. Right, next thing we're going to be doing is step 3. For next up, we're going to be working on the upper side of the vehicle, and I'm just going to put the door to one side for a second. The bit we're going to be working from is this bit. Oh, I'll turn this around. Just here, along this door frame there. Oh, it's probably better to put it on this side, actually. Just this bit here on the door frame and here, because we're going to be putting the hydraulic in. Now, the hydraulic we've got here looks like that. And is it a hydraulic or a gas strut? I don't know what the official name is. But basically, we've got a little hole for this to go in just like that there. And it's going to fit perfectly in there. But we need to keep that in place. That was step 4, just putting that in place. Step 5, we're going to be putting that little tiny bit of metal over the top of it, which means I'm going to lie this down, get this nice little tiny bit of metal, and it's going to be secured into place with OM screws. These are really tiny, and the way this thing goes on, like this, it's going to be going on probably best on the top camera here, just like that on top. So let's get this screwed in. Now these OM screws are really, really tiny. I don't think I've seen anything so tiny as these. Okay, that's only held in with one screw. I've just put one screw in there, and that's all that we need to do to keep that in place. Now we're going to be offering the door up to this unit here, and what we've got, the wire here, is going to be going through this hole. I'm just trying to see best camera, probably the top camera here, this one here, just to pass through the hole right like this. And then we're going to be putting the, oh God, put it through. I've got a big number 2 on there. I might have to take that off. Oh my God, that didn't sound right, did it? Okay, just trying to show you the best camera to show you this on. But once we've fed that through, we've got a little hinge here, which has got like a little point on one end and a little screw hole on the other. We're going to be putting the QM screws into that. But to mount this, we need to mount it. This is where it's going to get really fiddly now. We're going to be mounting it from this side here, putting this wire through so that the little, what do they call it? The little hinge there is going to be locking the whole thing into place. And then we're going to be screwing that in with that screw. So what I'm going to do is line this up to where it goes. Now that hinge needs to be facing this side of the vehicle, so I'm just going to get the hinge in first. I think that's probably the best thing. There we go, the hinge is in first that way, and then using 100 pairs of arms, I'm going to get one of these little tiny QM screws in. Let's see how this works. There you go, first one's gone in, nice and tight. I'm putting it tight to make sure it's held that in place, which it has. I'm just going to load up another little tiny QM screws. God, they are tiny. And we're going to line up the hinge on the other side here. I don't know if any camera's seeing this, so I'll have a look at that in post-production, I think. But that's the next one lined up. So we'll load this one up and we'll get this screwed in as well. There we go, and that's done. And I don't mind telling you now, if you didn't have a problem putting that in, you really don't know, you probably haven't done it properly because that was really fiddly to put in. But now that's in, as you can see, the door stays on its own. Okay, so the last thing we're going to be doing is this little gas strut here. We're going to be putting into the hole just on the side of the door in this one here. That's going to be secured into place with a one of the tiny QM screws again. Really tiny ones. Having to work with these is a little bit challenging, I have to say. But let's load the screw up. Put it into place. And then hopefully, with the angle I've got here, you might be able to watch me screw it in on one of these cameras. Once it's lined up, there we go. We're in, screw it in, and now the door is connected to the hydraulic lift. But as you can see, it opens and closes perfectly, but there's nothing to keep that door in place. If you were to crimp this, I suppose, and bite it into place, it would wedge open, but you're going to damage that big time. So there you go. Let me just show you that from another angle so the door can go. Oh, let's lift it up with a handle. See, so it goes up and you've got the little strut mount there doing what it does. But it's not going to stay up on its own. So that was that door completed though. So that was a tricky issue, I have to say. Very, very tricky. Those little QM screws are tiny and they were hard to work with. And I think the hardest bit you're going to have with that is lining up the little hinges on those doors to those little QM screws on the other side. But we managed it. As you can see, I did work on a blue towel this time because I get alarm bells ringing. I know some of my viewers get alarm bells ringing when I'm just putting it on the cutting mat there, hoping that we don't scratch the metal. But that's that issue completed. I'm guessing the next door's coming in issue 71 because, as I said, it's at the start of this video, it's wrong whatever's in there. But until then, hope you like that video. Take care.